Is this working? Uh, it's been a while, but that's how it goes when you're. Ah, let's see if we're back now. Oh man, I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Um, this is hitting on what I was just talking about, right? These platforms are censoring us hardcore. So it ain't nothing more than they logged me out just to start deleting the number of people that started joining the chat to start censoring where the information is going. But I let me just say much love to everyone. Sister Cherokee Tulu, honor to you. Iron Five, honor brother, honor. All Out Two, honor to you. Shatahaya Bell, honor to you. Uh, Brother Nino, honor to you. Lorenzo, honor, brother. Shalene, occult, all cut, honor to you. Uh, Haya Haru Aman Ray El Bay, honor to you. Always honor, brother. Indigenous cotton picking. All right, honor to you, honor. So honor to everyone that is joining. Honor to everyone that is in the chat right now. Even though on my screen is saying one person in the chat on my phone, but I see that it's more. So we're gonna try this again, and I'm gonna try to screen share something again and see if it chips out this time again because I screen shared what I just screen shared. So we're gonna try again, and what it looked like also the person that is monitoring my platform, what they did was log me out so that person could log in because it showed me that I got two people in here instead of one. It shouldn't be like that. I'll screen share and show you guys a screen of what it's saying. So, this is what shadow ban looks like. But I don't care. Alright, let's see if it comes up. Screen share should pop up. So, alright, so here we go. So you see where this part that is blue with the two um person figure emojis? It's saying that I have two people in here, but I don't. It's just me so far. But anyway, so I'm going to try to do the screen share again, right? Let's see if it comes up. Okay, you know where I'm going with this. So this is the CDC Foundation. This is the CDC Foundation.org financials website. Now we're going to see who created the CDC Foundation, okay, and see what it is. So here we have, and it says here, CDC Foundation .org, established by Congress more than 2 decades ago. The CDC Foundation is an independent 501c3 public charity for the 15th year in a row. The CDC Foundation received a 4-star rating from Charity Navigator. Only 1% of charities rated have received 15 consecutive 4 stars evaluations. And then it has to view our IRS listings, enter our federal tax ID. They give you all of that, right? So it's a business, as we all know. You have 501c3s that are nonprofit, but nonprofit for profit, right? And we'll show you how this is a nonprofit for profit because this whole foundation was started by Congress. Now, you have subsidiaries of the CDC. So the CDC Foundation and the CDC medical facilities are all the same. They're not different. They receive um, donations, funding from other investors and investment companies, right? Let's see. So this is where they're giving you like their fiscal year reports, and all of this information here is important. Going back to the starting year of this organization, it is very important that you people pay attention to all of this stuff and everything dealing with them and the IRS. Um, let me see. Let me pull up the other. This is also important. The board members, because now you're going to see the faces. Because everyone is asking, who are the faces that are calling these shots, that are doing all of this and all of these decisions and getting all of these things passed and pushing through all of these policies and these things that violate our rights every single day. Who are these people? You go on their site, their board. It gives you the name of the board members. Who are the board members of the CDC Foundation? It's here. It's all here. Multiple different races that's on here. You'll see it. right? Then we'll have the advisors to the board, all here. All you have to do is type in cdcfoundation.org and just go at it. Start investigating, right? Then it has selection of past board members, right? All here, all here. Okay. Now let's cover back one thing here and run and just to put this back out there again. 28 USC 3002 15A. Now, as you can see here, it's letting you know Title 28 USC 3002 Section 15, the United States. C. United States Code Title 28 3002 15, where it's stated unequivocally the United States is a corporation. Washington, D.C. is a sovereign city state not bound by any laws or treaties that the 50 states in the Union are. And then it goes in again, just as the city of London is not a part of England proper, and the Vatican is also a sovereign city state. It's important that you know this stuff because these three places that were named, the United States Corporation, the London Corporation, and the Vatican Corporation, all three. This is where a lot of the decisions about what goes on in the world, all these three entities are what runs and call the shots of all damn near all the decisions of what goes on into the world, which countries are to stay wealthy, which countries are not to stay wealthy, which countries are to be sanctioned, which countries are not to be sanctioned. You understand? These are all companies, they're businesses, they're not countries. Now, coming up in about 2024, 2025, possibly soon as 2023, the World Health Organization is launching a pandemic treaty. That pandemic treaty, if it's passed, will give them the right to shut down every and anything. And it's supposed to be signed by the world governments, the countries of the world. Any documentation that marks the United States on there as signatories to any of these treaties and documents, the United States is not a country. It is a federal corporation. It is a business. Do you understand? So people must understand what makes these treaties valid or invalid. Okay? But because these public servants that you think that you vote for are representing supposed to be representing you, the people, yeah, which also that is also an illusion when they tell you we the people, because the we the people actually stood for the men and women who created particular documents, right? The trust document for the United States Corporation. It's really them and their family that it really stood for, but it gives you the illusion that it also stood for everybody else. But because they already put that lie out there, they have to stand by that lie to make it seem like it's everyone else. So it's a double-sided sword. But anyway, so any documents or treaties that's signed off on, especially the ones that are signed off on to subjugate or to subdue your rights, to take away any form of human rights, natural born given rights that you have, okay? To decide what you want to put in your body, how you want your child to be educated, any of these things. That pandemic treaty, when passed, or if passed, yeah, uh, 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 um, will be signed off on by the United States and by these other places that are named, which are not countries, they are businesses, they are corporations. So you must understand that all of this is businesses. Now, what you must do and prepare to do is to get yourself out of the jurisdiction of these businesses that are operating under the disguise as countries, because they're not countries. Colonial forces cannot come on someone's land and operate as if they're those people. They cannot do that. So they have to set up what some people say are dummy corps or shell companies. Okay? They have to set up something else, like Your name will be John Carter Brown, right? You know that is your name. That is your name that your mother and father gave you. Your mother and father gave you the name John and Carter. Brown is the family name. That represents you, the living, breathing man. Well, the corporation will create John Carter Brown in all capital as a business. You see what I'm saying? So you not knowing that that all capital is a business and you will be operating the all capital as if it's a living, breathing person, but it's not. You must now separate yourself from the business and put yourself back into the living man capacity and separate yourself from the straw man because the straw man is what's under their jurisdiction. So you must take yourself, the living man, outside of their jurisdiction so that these treaties that they're about to try to forcibly pass don't go for you because they're going to make it so that they can track your every movement, every single thing that you're doing, going through if you're going to be traveling from whatever airline you're going to be taking, whatever country you're going to be taking. And because these places that they list and they named already so far are partners with other supposed countries out there, everyone knows if the United States corporation signs off on something, at least 50 to damn near 100 countries are going to sign off with them. Okay? And the reason why I'm showing you guys this, because especially those who are in the islands, a lot of these places that you're calling certain names, certain islands, like people are saying the island of Jamaica, and Jamaica is not an island. Jamaica is literally King's House. That's King's House is what's called Jamaica. That building is what's called Jamaica. That land is called Jamaica or Zamaica. Okay, that's what it's called. So when the United States signs off on that treaty, that pandemic treaty, so will the Jamaica Corporation sign off on it. But you got to understand that these are not countries. These are businesses under the Dun and Bradstreet listing and the Security Exchange Commission listing. Okay, which you can find the government of Jamaica and the Jamaica government on the Securities Exchange Commission website. Okay, I need people to understand what's happening here because, matter of fact, I'll just show you. I'll just show you. Let's see what else we can pull up. Uh, CDC. Okay. Uh, Matter of fact, this subsidiaries. We should have something. Space that out. That's there. Someone. Ah, let's see if we find it here. Centers for Disease Control. CDC government. Uh, CDC organization. Minority health. Forecasting. So again, let's see if this is it. Let's see if this is it. They probably hit it where we got to dig into it. Oh, that's not it. All right, give me a sec. I know where to go to pull it up. Give me a second. Let me do this real quick. Let me pull it up real quick. Boom, 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 boom. Let's pull it back up. I used to have this list, but I have a new little system now, so the list isn't going to be there. So we'll subsidiaries of the subsidiaries. Oh, oh, there we go. Come on now. Let's do this. Give me a second, folks. Okay. All right, this is one. Let me screen share back this one here with y'all. On a Locono, on a copper, on a. Let's see if it comes up. All right, so here we go. List of significant subsidiaries of the CDC Corporation. Okay, mind you, the CDC Foundation is supposed to be a non-profit, a 501c3. Now here you have the CDC Corporation, which is the same as the CDC Foundation. You understand? Remember, everything is trademark and patent and copyright. So the word, the initial CDC cannot be used by anything or any other entity outside of the CDC itself. All right. Only them and their subsidiaries could use that CDC. Okay. So here you have name, entity name, HongKong.com Corporation, came in first tier. Industry Meta Mathematic International Corporation, Industry Mathematic AB, Pivotal Corporation, CDC Software Acquisition Co., SRL, Raw System Inc., Saratoga System Inc. Right? And here you have jurisdiction of incorporation. Now everybody knows that everyone knows that when you want to have overseas accounts, people always tell you Panama or the Cayman Islands to bury or hide whatever money or financial dividends that you are pulling in if you don't want the federal government in your business. Look where they have it at. And everyone knows about also incorporating your business through also Delaware as well, right? Or California, and I think Maryland. Yeah, it's either Maryland or Minnesota. But jurisdiction of incorporation, Cayman Islands, Cayman Islands, yeah. Delaware, Sweden, British Columbia, Barbados, Delaware, and what I say, California. So I had one, two of the names, three of the names on this list, right, of the jurisdiction. Okay. So now you got to ask yourself, why does the CDC have subsidiaries which have their jurisdiction in corporations financial banking system set up in the Cayman Islands, Delaware, Sweden, British Columbia, Barbados, and California. Okay, these are questions that people should be asking. And then who or what are these companies here? All right. And this is from the Securities Exchange Commission's archive website. Okay. Give me a sec. Let me see if I can pull up something else. Because there's a few things that I just want to address. Because when Spirit says to talk, it's time to talk. For all these times, Spirit said to shut up and do what I have to do behind the scenes. So I've been working on a short story and poetry book, and I've been also working on a bedtime story book for fathers to give to their children. So that's what I've been working on. Arawak has been working on some documentations and some paperwork that, when finished up, will be good for all of us, all of us, even those who we have reached out to before, right? So when this thing goes through, everyone will be contacted and it will be put out there. But we have some stuff that we're working on that's going to be good for everyone, right? So we're far ahead of um, those Yen Kun Kuns and the Richard Currys and them. They don't know what they're doing. But anyway, we're going to get into something else. Give me a sec. Go back here. Mm, oh, there. I think they're hiding it. CDC sponsorship and conference policy grants. CDC's ethical considerations for public-private partnerships. No, that is not it. No. Oh, give me a sec, folks. CDC subsidiaries. Okay. Yep, this one they buried. So it's gonna. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Trying to find it right now. It used to be easy to find. As soon as you type it in, the entire list will come up. The entire list would come up. But here's something that I also want to show you guys, so that no one can say that no, they're not the same. It's separate. The CDC Foundation and the CDC is not the same thing. It is totally different. Hogwash. Now watch. It should come up on the screen share. Right. Just, I don't want this to be, oh, this is a made up thing. So here you see at the top of the screen it says CDC Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Now you go down, CDC Foundation. Together our impact is greater. So the list that I'm trying to find, but the list that I showed you before of all their board members and their past board members, okay? Because at one time they used to try to make it seem like the CDC Foundation.org and the CDC.gov is not the same thing. They are the same thing. That's just where they funnel their money through the foundation, okay? Now, what I want to show is that all the companies like Bayer, Pfizer, Moderna, um, AstraZeneca, Johnson and Johnson, Google, YouTube, Home Depot. It's a fraternity. This is one big fraternal order. And if you're not a part of this that subsidiary family, anything that you have, anything that you represent, or anything that you present that has to do with healing of anything or anything that can better humanity, the FDA will shut it down because you're not partnered with none of those companies. One big fraternity. One big fraternity. Those companies invest in the CDC Foundation. The CDC Foundation then puts that money into the CDC, which then the CDC then uses it to fund facilities like the Wuhan lab and the other 12 laboratory facilities that does exactly what the Wuhan laboratory does here in what they call the United States. You have 12 of those facilities here, 12, which Rand Paul uh, put that out there. Okay, so yeah, so there goes CDC Foundation. All right, now let's see. Established by Congress. Here we go. Established by Congress as an independent nonprofit organization, the CDC Foundation is the sole entity authorized by Congress to mobilize philanthropic partners and private sector resources to support CDC's critical health protection missions. A philanthropist or a philanthropist is Bill Gates, George Soros, which George Soros is who funds the maroon, the Tainos, and uh, not I ain't gonna say all of the maroons, the ones that are hip on certain information with Richard Curry and them. This is where they're getting their stuff from. Their fundings are coming in from. George Soros has a funding system set up for the Americas and the Caribbean islands for indigenous communities. But in order for these fundings to go through, you must give a lot of misinformation, a lot of misrepresentation, and you must also promote the thinning of the bloodline. Okay, which is what they're doing. But anyway, let's not stray. So, CDC Foundation, together our impact is greater. Established by Congress as an independent nonprofit organization, the CDC Foundation is the sole entity authorized by Congress to mobilize philanthropic partnerships and private sector resources to support CDC's critical health protection mission. The CDC Foundation helps the CDC and improve. You hear that? They admitting it. The CDC Foundation helps the CDC save and improve lives by unleashing the power of collaboration between CDC and philanthropies, corporations, organizations, and individuals. So, anyone that has put money into the CDC Foundation, which has put money into the CDC, that is a conflict of interest. Okay? That is a major conflict of interest. That means if Ahua has a business and I'm the number one investor of Ahua's business, yeah? And Mikey is not an investor of Ahua's business, but Ahua's business um, has a particular impact on Mikey's livelihood, yeah? But say Ahua says, all right, since this has a negative impact on Mikey's livelihood, where I Ahua wants to then change how the business is ran, but I'm the number one investor. So the business can't go nowhere without my money. So I have to say so. So if I say, nah, screw it, F Mikey, we're going to continue with business as usual, or else you're going to lose my funding, right? And then I say, then, let's say, Rainstorm says, okay, let's write these policies and have them passed. But now the policy, since I'm the number one investor, I have to review the policies and tell you what I like and what I don't like about the policy for it to be passed because you have to pass that policy to make sure that I'm still making more money through Ahua's corporation. So screw Mikey. That is a conflict of interest. You understand? Major conflict of interest. So if Bill Gates or anything dealing with the Gates Foundation invested into the CDC or the CDC Foundation, conflict of interest. If YouTube has any form of investment into the CDC Foundation, Google Any form of investment into the CDC Foundation, which then invests into the CDC, which the CDC invests into the Wuhan laboratory, which also invests into the other 12 gain of function research facilities in what they call the United States conflict of interest. You understand? Major conflict of interest. Meaning that are you passing these policies for public safety, or are you passing these policies so that this person can become richer and richer and richer off of public fear? Which is why it will be a pandemic and not an epidemic, because a pandemic deals with fear, mass hysteria. An epidemic more so deals with actual spread of plague, disease, famine. Do you understand? So here they breaking it down to you, right? Security. Let me see. Corporations and individuals to protect the health and safety and security of America and the world since 1995. The CDC Foundation has launched approximately 1,000 programs and raised over 750 million. The CDC Foundation managed over 300 CDC-led programs in the United States and in more than 130 countries last year. That means that treaty that they're trying to pass, the 130 countries that are under the CDC's banner. If the CDC says yes, sign that treaty, those 130 countries are going to sign that treaty because they are subsidiaries of the CDC. That includes what they call Jamaica, with the Jamaica Corporation. They will sign, even if it means something that is going to violate the livelihood and the liberty of the people of those lands. They're going to sign it because it's extra bonus for them. It's more money in their pocket. Now, let me see if I can pull up the other stuff that I really want to pull up. Give me 1 second here. Let's see if I can find it. On Cybele and I can find it. List of CDC group portfolio companies. Is that it? They got even an Africa CDC vaccination portal, partnership to Africa Vaccine Manufacturing Institute. Oh, there's even an AfricaCDC.org, right? Because remember, their job is to sell vaccines and medication. That's the CDC's job. Who are the largest donors of the CDC? Uh, let's see. Our donors, CDC Foundation. Let's see if I could. Let's see if this will be one of it. I found another list. Let's go. I'm going to pull it up right now. Let me screen share it with you guys. You can't make this. I swear, you cannot make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Let's go. It should be coming up real soon. Forgive me if it's moving slow. It moves kind of slow. Now, back again to the CDC Foundation. Together, our impact is greater. I bet it is, mother. I bet it is. All right, so here it goes. Corporations, foundations, and organizations. Fiscal year report to donors. The CDC Foundation unites partners and brings together resources to advance critical public health work. Together, we are working to create innovative solutions to protect us all from health threats. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Contributor of 5 or more consecutive years. 50,000 and above dollars. They got here anonymous to anonymous. They got Act Blue Charities, Albert Einstein College of Medicine, American Airlines. Remember, American Airlines is one of the first to pass the mask thing and to pass the you must be vaccinated to fly thing. Remember that? Now, if I found the other list that I'm also looking for, it will show you that Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson and Johnson, Janssen and Janssen, all these FDA approved, emergency approved um uh companies are on that list. Okay, which also American Airlines and I believe also JetBlue and those other airlines are also on that list as well. Remember, I tell you, this is a fraternity of companies that have come together. These are the companies that run the world. Okay, that have come together to manage and manipulate your everyday affairs. Okay, so because these companies are on this list as donors, when Fauci says you must be vaccinated before you can fly and you must wear a mask, those companies are going to agree with it and say yes because it's these companies that was actually pushing for these policies. Okay, and Fauci and them is just working for these guys. All right, so here you have American Airlines, American Express Foundation, um, Amgen Inc., Athena Health, Bank of America, BD, Bel Air Athletics, Bill and what did I tell you? Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. If you don't know what conflict of interest is, it's against the law. Murder cases gets thrown out of court for conflicts of interest. People go to prison for having conflicts of interest. Biogen, Bloomingdale's, Booz and Allen Hamilton. Uh, on the other side, you got CNA, you got Cigna Foundation, Bloomberg, Philanthropies, uh, Benevity, Fidelity Charities Trustees. You can't make this stuff up. Fidelity Investment, Gavi, Genentech, uh, Harvard University. Here you go. You have Google. You have you have Google. You have Gojo Global Board. Like you cannot make this stuff up. Okay. You have Merck and Sharp. You have Margaret A. and Cargill Philanthropies. Now, philanthropists are people like the Bilderbergs, the Fords, the Rockefellers, um, George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson. Okay, people that act like they do more charities in the world, but behind the scenes they're the ones paying for the warfare and backing all of the screwed up stuff that's been going on behind the scenes. But they put a pretty face in front of you to make it seem like when Thomas Jefferson said all men are created equal, but he was bumping and grinding his slave girl. You understand? And he still owned slaves, and his children were still living as slaves as well. So how's all men created equal? You understand? But people took him as greatness and a founding father because he said that dumb shit. But his actions didn't show that. All a philanthropist is the men and women who didn't want to pay taxes in Europe and they ran over here and they created a whole tax system over here to where they could initiate the crown into it so that the crown will stop coming after them by getting the natives or the aborigines or the locals of any country and landmark that they step foot on to start paying taxes to their colonizer, which will keep their big brother off of their backs. Okay, and then they realize, oh shoot, we all can make money from this. We're all getting wealthy off of this. And then they use that to create systems to pick and choose who they want to bring into the fraternity and who is not for the fraternity or who won't fall in line. They destroy you or they try to keep you right below the poverty line. Okay? Because the rise of you will mean the fall of them. So you can't make this stuff up. Knight Media Inc., the New York Community Trust, National Christian Foundation, Morgan and Stanley, right? Uh, you got more down here. PayPal, Path, Oak Foundation, One Main Financial, right? TikTok, right? University of Miami, United Health. Now, these are all subsidiaries, donors of the CDC, which means that all of their medical staff, all of their testing facilities that are on this, those hundreds of thousands of doctors, nurses, these law firms that are on this, those lawyers, okay, those testing facility workers, right, the people who create the testing kits, all work for the CDC. So if they all work for the CDC and the CDC is trying to pass policies that you don't agree with, and these people are going to come on national television because these are the people that are being interviewed to be experts. They will always side with the CDC because that's their boss. They work for them, and the money that the CDC makes, and the facilities that the CDC invests in, it all goes back to the United States Federal Corporation, which the CDC Foundation and the CDC Foundation was founded by Congress. So those members of Congress that founded the CDC Foundation are getting fat pockets off of this. They're the founders, which is why your Congress was split so much so down the middle. They couldn't get along because majority of them are in on this conflict of interest. You understand? So this is all business. It's got nothing to do with your health. They don't give two shits about your health. They're just trying to lock you down so that they could make crazy money off of you, and by selling you all these medications, these pills, these shots, these everything. This is why these things aren't even properly tested anymore. This is why they could get away with doing open experiments right out in the public. There, it's like internal affairs investigating the police department. That's the police investigating the police. You understand? I'm the head of the internal affairs department, right? And Arak is the chief of police. But every other weekend, me and him is going golfing together. How does that work? How do I then discipline my friend that I go golfing with every other week? Our families have picnics together. We shouldn't even be hanging out nor talking on any type of level because my job is to keep you in check. So the companies, the people who are to be keeping these companies in check, are the one taking fundings from these companies. Now, how many of these companies or the CEOs of these companies paid for the campaigns of these senators and congressmen and presidents, mayors and governors? How many? It's time for people to wake up. It's time for you to open your eyes and see what's been going on in front of you this whole time. I don't even have to show the other list. This list right here is good enough. Look at the very bottom, you have Zoom on this list. Actually, this list has everything, all the other companies plus more with this one. So this list is more detailed. Look, it just keeps going. You can't make this stuff up. It just keeps going. It just keeps. There's more. So it went from the highest donors to the lowest donors. There's more. Chicago Community Foundation, Sync Fundraising, Citizens Systems America. You, There's no making this stuff up. Look, it's still more. It's still going. ICF, HPI, JNP, Jackson Fine Art, Jewish Community Foundation, Jewish Community Foundation, Jewish Federation of Greater Atlanta, Jewish Federation of Metropolitan Chicago, JP and Morgan Securities. You can't make this stuff up. Remember, the Jewish community was the only community that was like, F you, we're not wearing no mask. In New York, when they put chains on the fence of the parks, them Jews went with their chainsaws and cut that shit off and put their kids in there to go play. And not one person got arrested. Not one person got arrested. So you must understand that all of these are businesses. It has nothing to do with you, the living, breathing person. What they're passing their policies on, what they're disciplining, what they passing their sanctions on, is that all capital letter name. That straw man name. It's not you. You understand? Now you are supposed to take over that straw man name so that they are not supposed to be able to use it. So what they're using is like what you call a power of attorney, because they're making it seem like you gave them power of attorney because your silence of them just using that name, your silence of them contracting with that name anytime they want, and you not speaking up or you not notifying them that I do not wish to contract with you. All right, you not registering that name as it is your property, your intellectual property. You not even taking out an EIN for that name. You understand? And then transferring it underneath your foreign 98 and then put locking it within your trust. Okay? Then creating an actual intellectual property to show and prove that that name is your intellectual property. Right? Like the Johns Foundation, right? The John Anthony Foundation. Because they like to use the name John and say your name is John Anthony, but you're getting letters from these courts in the all cap John Anthony or saying John S. Anthony. You understand? You know that that's the straw man. You know that has nothing to do with you. They're trying to contract business to business, office to office with you. So if it's your intellectual property, in their own policies and laws, they cannot use another man's intellectual property without their permission. Must know these things, people. These things get you out of deportation and all sorts of stuff. Understand, man? Look at this. This is not a game. Look at this. Look at this entire list, and it's still going. So when people are telling you about what's going on, or folks are saying conspiracy, conspiracy, watch this. Now this explains a lot. I just peeped something here. Where is it? Where are you, little rat faced bastard? I just saw you. Damn. I just saw Teespring up here. Because Teespring at one time had deleted my account. They had started not sanctioning, censoring the Teespring store. Hence you don't see it. I passed it. I can't find it again, but I just saw it flashed up there. Right? And you have a hell of a lot of banks on here. Okay? You have a hell of a lot of law firms on here. All right? So when you're seeing these policies drafted up, it is a law firm that is drafting up these policies. Okay? Usually it's coming from the Attorney General's office, whoever the head law office is that represents the municipalities, these cities, these states, which would be their Attorney General's office. So someone in that office is writing up these policies knowing that it goes against common law, constitutional law, it goes against universal law. It goes against the treaties that are has already been signed out there. It goes against the Nuremberg Convention policies and law. It goes against all these things. So they're playing on your ignorance and those out there who are blind and their stupidity to not wanting to know actual law, but just sit down and just take telling. Let someone tell you this is what it is, and you don't go look into it. Okay. So here you also have CVS Health, right? Yeah, you cannot make this stuff up. FM Global, Fidelity Foundation. If anybody used to find their QSIP number on the Fidelity website, you understand that when you pull up your QSIP, when you put and you start finding yourself, but your QSIP is right in front of your face. A lot of people who don't know it, your QSIP is right in front of your face. You don't got to go on none of these sites. It's literally in front of your face on your paperwork, right? But you'll see, like when I pulled up mine, I had over 25,000 banks that was tapping into the birth certificate. And those banks were just right here in the Americas alone. Okay? Look at this list. This list is still going, folks. This list is still going. This is the end of it. You can't make this stuff up, right? You can't make this stuff up. So I guess this is their newly organized list. The list that I was looking for was the old one that would show you Johnson and Johnson and stuff. So this one I would have to read back through it to accurately pinpoint them to show you those ones on this list. Look, you got what's this? Nvidia also on here, right? You got the Nasdaq employee giving, right? Like Nike is on here. MSN is on here. These stuff can't. Uber is on here. This is why Uber started telling you gotta wear a mask. You understand? Uber is on here. These are all conflicts of interest. Okay, you can't make this stuff up. Look at this. I'm seeing stuff on here that wasn't even on the first list that I had. Look, folks, I'm about to get up off of here, but I just had to just actually share this information with you one more time. Spotify is on here. This is why Spotify blocked all of my podcast content. They blocked every single one. Every single one. I got over 100 downloads, so you'd have to go on Encore. But guess what? Encore is Spotify. Look, Siemens Health Diagnostics. That's another testing facility. You understand? T-Mobile is on here. So when you look at the list of all these businesses and companies and corporations, right? Now you who are going out there trying to get a job and they're enforcing these unlawful policies on you, it's because they're a part of this foundation list. You understand? They're a part of this foundation list. And these companies have other companies that are underneath them, subsidiaries of companies that are underneath them, smaller stores, smaller warehouses that are within your community. So you're going there thinking you're going to get a job, and here they come and telling you, oh, you know what? We're not even taking any form of medical exemptions or even tribal exemptions. We're not taking that because they're trying to force you to go to contract and do business with them because the minute you take whatever it is that they're offering, you agree to contract with them, meaning that they're no longer breaking any laws. You understand? Okay. So that this stuff is not a game, folks. Look at this list, right? Sabin Vaccine Institute. Look at this list. Look, SC Johnson and Son Inc. Look at this list. Silicon Valley Community Foundation. We all know what Silicon Valley is. Okay? There's something else I want to show before I also leave here. I want to show again once again. All right? Uh, let me see if I can find something on here so I could see if it's on here. Can't find it. I mean, it's just somewhere on here and I just don't see it. Kessler. Yeah, and the other one was more organized. This one is just more thrown together, so you can't see certain things that you want to see on here. I'll find the old list where I could literally go down and show you Pfizer and Johnson and stuff. Bioreference Laboratories, another laboratory that's underneath their stuff, right? But they're here. It's just there's just too much names to go through, right? They're here, folks. Just do your due diligence, man. Look, man, just do your research. I implore you guys to do your research, okay? Authenticate your birth certificate. Also, make sure you get that done. All right. Um, you go down. You can get it authenticated through your Secretary of State of the state that you're in, and then you send it down to the Federal Secretary of State office. Also, if you are from the islands, you send it into your consulate, right, to be authenticated by the whoever the head of the consulate is. They could authenticate it right there and then. All right. Uh, yeah. So make sure you get that done also, right? The IRS Form 2848 is the revocation of power of attorney, right? There's something that I'm going to try to revoke power of attorney from any state and stuff, but for someone, it's not for me, right? They want me to try it, so I'm going to try it with the Form 2848. Because if you have your state or your city's tax ID number, EIN number, that means anything that they're forcing, any policies that that city or state, any inspection agency, any ticketing that's going on, they're flexing power of attorney because you live in that state. You live or you're under the jurisdiction of that state because of the straw man, because you want to take the straw man out. But we must address Mama G and the Maroon. Mama G is a scam. It's a con artist. She's a scammer, right? And that whole story talking about the Maroons apologizing for their role into enslaving the West Africans that was here and all that stuff and the Indians. Like she's just full of shit. She'd have to prove to me She'd have to tell me who is the West African and prove that those people came from West Africa. If you know those people, those supposed Maroons that supposed to know their people history, still know their ancestors' names, where they are buried, tell me where are the West African in their bloodline and go over to West Africa and show me their great grandmothers and grandfathers and so on and so. That heifer can't. Her name, even in the name Mama G, it really stands for Gamma. Gamma G, okay, from the fraternities, G Phi, Alpha, all that, Zeta, Beta, all that stuff. Then it goes back into the Sigma Alphard, Sigma Alpha, which are the two comets of destruction. Uh, it just goes. It goes into a multitude of things. It's all occult. It's all rituals that they're dealing with. That whole initiation that Curry went through when he had the colonizer them initiating him in that whole Taino bullshit. All of that. Those are the Asians from the Asian countries over in the Eastern world. That shit has nothing to do with us. That has nothing to do with our culture. That has nothing to do with our identity. It's nothing more than they found out about the whole George Soros multi-billion dollar dollars a year that he gives out. Mind you, this billionaire gives out more money than he actually makes. No one questions that. They say that he makes his net worth is $8 billion, but he gives out over 60 to 150 billion dollars in charitable donations. How? How, Sway? How? No one questions that. Where is he getting all of that money from? So what these people do, they drop their drawers and they bend over and take it up the ass from these philanthropists, right? And they take their money. You know what I mean? Shoe shine boys and girls. You see what I'm saying? Yes, foreign grants. You understand? That's what they're doing. So they'll go to the people that was trying to ethnocide us, because the Tainos were trying to not only ethnocide, genocide us off of our land. And the whole Taino thing, they're not Tainos, they're Umbrians. They're the Umbrians. They are the Tadinos from Umbria. Have nothing to do with our people over here. Okay? And even the history of that over there with the Umbrians and the Tadinos are pointing that they are identity thieves from over there, which is what they're doing over here. I will not give that foundation, that organization, any form of respect, or anybody that backs or supports that organization. There are Fed-based operation that is set to initiate or recruit a good portion of you so that you can put first-handedly play in the downfall of yourself. That's it. So oh, I got something coming for them. I got something coming for them. Something major coming for them. I'm going to tear that whole shit apart. And when I talk, I'm going to show all my proof and everything. Everything. You got to remember when the Yin Kun Kun first came on my platform, they was playing audio tapes of Mama G caught red-handed scamming, right? Of them and her going at it. All of a sudden now they're the best of friends and they're working together to pull in for the betterment of what? They speak for Maroons. They're not speaking for nobody else on the island. So if they don't consider you a Maroon, it's F off with you. They don't give two shits. And the only reason why they're speaking for Maroons because in the Maroon name, that name Maroon rings bells internationally. It opens up a lot of doors if you use it properly. Okay? That's why. It's one big scam. One big scam. They're setting up majority of the people on that island to become slaves, systematic slaves on a major level. That whole ID system that they're about to pass, this is why they talk about, oh, we got our maroon ID. So what if they don't consider you a maroon? You're not going to have that ID neither? But you don't need that ID. Every man is free to create and make their own identification card. No man cannot tell you who or what you are. You understand? Keep that in mind. So that maroon ID don't mean shit. Only thing that means is since they're still contracted and treated with the colonizer, they are a subsidiary that lands also underneath this foundation list right here as well. So they work for the Jamaica Corporation. That's why you see Mama G and Andrew Holness side by side, cracking champagne bottles and ships, christening ships and shit. They work for them. They're not sovereign. They will never be sovereign. Never. Their job is to try to gather as much lands for the colonizer as possible while getting their little bread and butter on the side. That's it. Same thing to what the natives has done here when they blacklisted and blackballed all the real Indians and the Indians that they deemed to be too dark off the reservations, okay? And mixed in with the Asians that ran away from the Asiatic countries because of warfare that was happening over there. And then what they did with the Europeans that ran away from Europe because of taxes and vagabond laws, they came together and created a fraternal order to block you out, to mislead you from your identity, right? Mislead you from you being the Aztec, the Mayans, the Arawak, you understand? And started telling you that you are now black and African American. Because once you still continuously claim those titles, you will never get reparations, okay? And you will forever be a foreigner on your own land while they're doing eminent domain and claiming up all your stuff. I suggest a lot of y'all also look up, I think it's in 1976 or 1974, Constitution, New York Constitution, what it says about Indians in there. You'll be surprised. So if all you folks who are calling yourself African Americans in New York, yeah, and you read what that Constitution says, then you have all grounds to challenge all these supposed Ashkenazis and Jews that are snatching up all these houses and lands and tripling and doubling rent and all that on you. You are all supposed to be freeholders, meaning that you are all landowners, and those people that are charging you to live in those buildings are supposed to be paying you taxes. You better wake up, understand what's going on, okay? While your communities are being gentrified. I'm watching my community right now being gentrified. A whole bunch of Mexicans is moving in. All the police officers are turning Mexicans, and jobs that wasn't once here before a few years ago, now jobs are coming in, but they only have hiring the Mexicans or the Asians acting as Mexicans. Okay, so you guys better wake up. Negroes are the number two wealthiest people in the Americas. You have more millionaires than anybody else, but for over 60, 70 years, you have not been reinvesting back into self and each other. You have not been building generational wealth. So you are at a major disadvantage. And when you own land, when you own businesses, that's where the power lies. That's where you can dictate who runs your community and who doesn't. You understand? I said that you guys wake up. It's important that you do. All right. But yeah, I got something for Curry and Mama G and them, and I'm a lot of fire underneath their eyes. But now it's just not the now it's not the right time. Spirit says it's not the right time. I move now when Spirit says move. If Spirit says to talk, I talk. If Spirit says don't talk, I don't talk. All right. Now Spirit just been telling me just to finish up my two books that I'm working on, and that's that. Right. And the documentations and paperwork that is being taken care of right now behind the scenes. That's all I could tell you guys. I can't tell you guys what kind of documents we're doing, but just know that when these documents are finished and they go through, they are for they will be something that will back everybody, whether you're mainland, whether you're islander, everyone. Okay, so yeah, them peoples they on borrowed time. That's all they on. It's just borrowed time. All right, but yeah, yeah. All right, y'all. I'm about to get up out of here. With that being said, I say peace, love, light to you all, to everyone that is here, to everyone that has joined me, to all the brothers and sisters that are here. I hold no malice, no grudge, no nothing towards anyone that I've had any issues with it within the past or anything. It's all love. You know what I mean? We don't always have to see eye to eye, but the end goal, I believe, is the same, right? And when the time is right, the Most High knows He'll let us come together when the time is right. Something that cannot be forced, but it's all love with everyone. And I wish you all nothing but the best. You know what I mean? If your intentions are true, much love. Much love. All right? Peace to you all.